Alright, welcome to part 9 of the tutorial series on the sci-fi case. In this tutorial we're going to basically work on this sort of frame structure here, and it's going to go all around this piece here, and pretty much last tutorial we kind of finished off matching up the edges and so forth and adding edge loops and making sure this is kind of like airtight. Now we're going to make this into what's known as a live object, and then use quad draw tools to basically draw out a design, sort of a frame structure. And then later on I'll probably extrude it and add some edge loops and things, but for today I think we're just going to do the drawing out part. And so the first thing you want to do is select the object you want to do this in, and you got to be aware of if you're in smooth mesh preview or standard mode. And I wanted a smooth mesh preview because I want this to kind of fall along the edges of the smoothness. So I hit number 3 to make sure I'm in smooth mesh preview, and then I'm going to click on this little magnet here. So if you hover over it, it says make live. Basically these are different forms of what do you call it, attraction, basically in terms of, like, you know, here's the examples, the point restraint. So you know, a snap to a point kind of thing. So this allows you to snap to the entire object essentially. So by making it live now, and it tells you what it is, the poly surface 31, which I didn't name, but here it is in the list here. And I kind of graze it out a little bit. And now what I can do is use the quad draw tool, and that's in the modeling toolkit. So make sure you click on that. It's down here, the quad draw, and I can draw out my own polygons. Now if you ever want to see the options to them, if you scroll down in here, there'll be an area here. It says keyboard mouse shortcuts. You can open that up and take a look. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't know all these by heart or any way, but I'm gonna sort of do a few of them. The first thing I'm gonna do is start to, you know, basically draw that sort of diagonal that I had before. So I'm gonna click here by left clicking with the mouse and maybe draw it to, I think right here will be good, and then here, and then here. And so what I've done here is created 4 points, and if I hover over it with the shift key, it sort of highlights it, and if I left click with shift, it makes that into a polygon, which sort of follows the form here. Now if I want to move any of these points, I can just left click and kind of move them around however I want. So I might want to bring this one down a little bit, something like that. So at that point, if I want to add divisions in here, I can hold the control key, and you can see I'm getting a division line. And so I'm thinking one somewhere down here would be good, maybe about that far, and I'm going to kind of move it up a little bit, something like that. Now to extrude, if you go near an edge, you can extrude out geometry, and you do that by holding down the tab key, and you get the extrude, and basically you can just like pull out geometry. So I'm gonna kind of do that, just kind of pull out, and you can see as I rotate around, this is for the most part sort of holding to the edge. Now if you need more resolution because it's bending or curving, that's when you'd have to add some divisions on here to make it really fall through. So you always want to check by kind of rotating. I know that this area is kind of flat right here, where I'm definitely going to have to add divisions. So for if I go down here on this curve area, so yeah, that'll be a little bit more problematic here. And nice thing is you can use the geometry here you have, so you can basically draw quads anywhere you want, or you can add, you know, another separation line. Maybe I'll add a division line there. Again, I just hold the control key to do that, and then hold tab and click on a edge line here. And so I'm going to bring this up to about there. I'm going to add a division line here, just by holding control key, just to kind of make sure it follows the form a little better, as you can see there. So basically this is the whole deal, holding control, clicking, and then holding tab and extruding out. And there's not much more to it than that. It's kind of fun, but basically you can move around and create whatever polygons you want. You can still freehand draw one, so I might do that here. I might click, 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 and click. It looks like it doesn't want to do it when it's close to the edge like that. So maybe I'll click out a little bit, not quite so close, something like that. I mean, I could have added a visual line extrude, but I kind of want to do this again. So I'm holding shift, and you can see it's kind of snapping to the closest verts, and it's trying to do a triangle there, and so it's having a hard time kind of finding the cube that I wanted here. So maybe I need to bring this down a little bit, and it still doesn't want to snap to it. So sometimes that is a problem, and what you could do is kind of move these points closer. So if I have a quad now here, it should, still doesn't want to do it. I don't know. So sometimes other points can get in the way. You could always move this out of the way, and then you got it by clicking there, and then kind of move that back. And I know it's kind of annoying to do that. So it's not a perfect kind of system, but you know, it is kind of fun just to allow these points to kind of snap to areas. If you bring them close to the edge, it kind of snaps to it. So you don't have to worry about it like folding over or something. Yeah, so I'm just kind of bringing these along, maybe something like that. These points I could, you can see how it's connected now as one whole unit. So you can move around there. Somewhere in here there's an area to separate it, and I can't. Let's see if I can figure that one out. Relax. If I hold shift, control, adds edge loop, and alt will allow me to spin. It's probably some combo. Let's see. Control shift. Aha. Control shift basically deletes the whole face. So if I hold control shift, I get that whole thing going away. So I might just, you know, maybe move this guy over here. Maybe move this guy over here. I'm just changing the sort of shape here. I'm thinking it might be better to have more quad angle instead of a triangle there. So I'm trying to line it up like so. And then here I'll just add an edge loop by holding control, and then tab to drag it down and kind of snap into place there. So I kind of like that frame. And where I'm getting reference from is that file, which I closed out. So give me a sec to open up here. This is Photoshop here. Just let it do its thing. Apologize I didn't have it open earlier. But you can see here everything's in quads, so this is really nice. And the idea here is that I would extrude this off and have it as a separate piece of geometry essentially later on. So here's Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Open Recent, and there's the project. So what I'm looking at is these kind of shapes down here. Let me add a new layer here and just draw around it. These kind of things, or even these kind of details. These little edges are popping off, and these guys here. It's just sort of edge framing detail. So by having it thicker, it looks extruded, or even this kind of stuff here. So all those kind of guys, that's kind of what I'm thinking about with this guy here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just hold tab and drag this guy down. And I'm going to drag him all the way down to here. And then I'm going to hold control and add a few divisions in here, just to kind of have it hopefully snap a little better close to the edge. There we go. And so now I could have a thicker area if I want, or maybe I'll just move this guy up a little bit so that I get sort of consistent with here. I'm getting holding tab just to pull out these kind of long shapes. But you can see here, if I drag this guy all the way out here, you can see it's not quite going to work until I have some divisions here. So again, I'll just delete that guy by hitting Control Shift. So if I did want to have that wrap around, I would probably want to extrude out and then just stop and extrude out. And again, all I'm doing is holding tab as I extrude out. And now if I rotate around, you can see it's having a better time sort of snapping to the edge there. So, and you know, if I wanted to again follow more the edge, I might add a division here, and maybe one there, and maybe one there. And so now I can kind of move these guys around, and it should be closer to the edge as it gets, you know, sort of snapped to there. But drawing polygons can be kind of fun, just freeing it out, you know, freeing however you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one here, just pulling tab again, and then tab again here. And later on, you might have to pull in the geometry a little bit, but the thing is I am going to extrude this out so I could push it back into the geometry pretty easy. So I'm just going to add a couple divisions here though to help out. And then I might do something interesting, maybe a division here, and then hold tab and drag out here. I'm just thinking here might be kind of fun to have something that has, let's see, a tab that maybe snaps there, sort of angles a little bit. And then again, I'm just hitting tab and it literally snaps to these areas, which is kind of cool. So now I got a triangle kind of shape. And I'm not following any exact specific design. I'm just kind of looking at it and going, what would be kind of cool as a framing component? And I might change this up as I go along, but this is basically the process here. You just hit tab and kind of move around. And again, hold control to add a division if I need to. And then I could hold that shift as a relax. Let's see what that does. I think that brings it closer to the object. Let's see. No, not really. I guess it just relaxes the curve of the verts. But yeah, it's not exactly gonna line up perfectly. Let's see, maybe another division here. And then I'm going to hold tab and pull out a piece of geometry here. Let's bring it out to about there. And then tab. And I can move these guys around. And so you can see how you can sort of finesse over and over and over, just kind of moving these points around. I don't like that this one is so thick. Kind of want it to be all kind of evenly distributed. So I'm going to bring this guy down and try and average it out and make it kind of similar to the other ones. Similar thickness. That looks closer. It doesn't have to be exact, but something, you know, when you look at it from a distance, like, yeah, those are pretty close. There's a few that are a little bit thicker and some that are a little bit thinner. I'm okay with a tiny bit of variation, but I don't know, that one just seemed like it'd be nice to have a little bit thinner. Now, maybe I end with, on this end, with a bigger polygon. And I'll just keep bringing that in until I snap it down here. And then I'll extrude this guy out and kind of snap it to there. But you can literally redraw your entire geometry using this method. You can do repotology this way. Some artists will do that. They'll use a curved surface to kind of guide them, especially with rounded objects, things that need fixing with the geometry. This is a great little way of working. But I like it just for, you know, drawing out new polygons kind of like this and just having fun with design. So I don't know where I want to go from here. Maybe another guy down here. Extrude this guy out, and maybe another little one. And then this little one maybe I'll bring up. Something like that. Let's see. And then hold control, add another division there. And maybe another extrude here. Bring that over. Yeah. So this is kind of repetitive, me doing this over and over and over again. I know I said I would do this in real time with everything, but I think you can kind of see where I'm at. I'm going to do a little bit more in between, and then Once I'm done here, I will start the extrusion as a different tutorial. But I think this is enough to kind of show you the idea here and give you an idea of what I'm doing here. So again, I can hold Control to add division, and then Tab. Those are the two that I use the most for the extrusion. And then if I really need to, I can, quad draw. But once you really start having a individual polygon, it's pretty easy to start your own. But you can do, crazy shapes if you wanted to. You could do n-gons very quick and easy here, and it'll kind of connect them as a different shape. So you can do, it tries to stick with 4 or 3. So if I hit Control Shift and delete that guy, I essentially have here 2 quads, and I could easily make this into like a circle, for example, if I wanted to. Some sort of piece of circle, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to delete this actually. So Control Shift to delete both of those. Yeah, so I think we'll end it here. Again, I'm just basically going to keep going with this. When you're done, all you got to do is click out with the line, and then right click and go to object mode, and you have that object selected. This guy is still live, so you just uncheck that little guy, and now you have 2 pieces of separate geometry. In fact, I will right click on it and assign a Phong I have here just so you can see a different color, and you can kind of see it there. And then so I select it, hit W, and I'm going to center my pivot here by hitting my CP and just kind of pull it forward. If you ever want to center your pivot, that's under Modify, Center Pivot. Again, I have it to my custom shelf. But now you can kind of see the sort of structure of it. Again, I'm going to keep going with it outside of this tutorial, just because I want to think about it for a while. I don't want to kind of rush it, but you got the idea. It's pretty much straightforward. It's like, holding Tab to extrude down, and then moving the points around basically, and then Control Shift to delete, and then Control across to make divisions. Again, if I want to make this into a live object again, I just select it, click on the magnet. It's now a live object. Come back to this object and grab my quad roll, and it's still active. You can see that. So it's pretty cool. You can pause and continue on however you want. So I might add a division here, and then hold Tab and drag this across to here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and call it for this tutorial, and then next one we'll basically have this frame done, and then we'll do extrusion. Until next time, see you soon. Cheers.